Hi there, I'm X King. Welcome back to another episode of Straight to Streaming. Today I am talking about Chupa. Chupa is the latest Netflix film. It was directed by Jonas Cuarón. I apologize immediately for mispronouncing that name because I probably did. And centers around this kid named Alex, played by Evan Whitten. He's basically a kid who's lost his father. He feels ostracized at school, and one day his mother sends him to Mexico for spring break to meet his grandfather, played by Damien Bashir. I apologize if I mispronounced that name as well. And while there, he meets this baby chupacabra. And he decides to help the chupacabra find its family and survive, basically. All the while, there's this evil government organization who's after it because the chupacabra has some medical uses, because they believe that they can synthesize its blood to help make some new medicine. This movie is perfectly fine. The story is pretty standard for a film like this. This is one of those films that's a kid who's lost himself, a piece of himself, usually because of the death of a family member, is starting to doubt his heritage and just wants to be a normal kid. But he ends up going to meet other members of his family, ends up encountering this mystical creature, all while learning to appreciate his heritage and who he is as a person. Uh, this does that type of film basically to the letter. It doesn't take any twists or turns. You know exactly what's going to happen. You know the beats it's going to follow. The only question is does this film execute it well? And it does fine. There are a couple moments where I was like wanting them to get back to the chupacabra part of this story. After all, this film is called Chupa. Um, but they spend a lot more time with the core family, and to be honest, that's probably for the better because the core family dynamic is more interesting as he tries to navigate learning what it means to be from that culture, uh, and basically learning the culture from those around him and what it means to be Mexican. Uh, that would have been more interesting, especially with the dynamic between him and his grandfather, who's starting to lose his mind a little bit because of all the times he got hit in the head when he was a luchador. So that would have been more interesting, probably. But what we got is perfectly fine with the chupacabra and the kid. It just isn't anything new. There's no new ground being broken here, but there really didn't need to be. So then you have the characters, and this is the weakest part of the movie, as our core characters aren't that interesting. They're really one characteristic, and there's nothing else to them. We have our main character, who's just a genuinely good person, but has lost his way and is starting to doubt who he is as a person and his heritage. You have his cousins, the younger cousin being a kid who's just obsessed with luchadors. His older cousin who just wants to listen to good music. And then you have the villain, played by Christian Slater, and he's really cartoonish. We don't really get to fully explore why he's doing this, what his personal stake is in this film. He just seems to be a guy who wants to capture chupacabras because he wants to capture chupacabras. And that's kind of unfortunate. But there is one character I latched onto, and that is the character of the grandfather. As, like I said, we have this character who's wise and is trying to help his grandson out, find himself, and find his heritage again. He also is dealing with his own issues in the fact that he's starting to lose his mind a little bit because of all the head injuries he's had over his long career. And that's an interesting dynamic there, and I really enjoyed how the film explored that. Now, unfortunately, that's kind of in the background and considered more of a subplot, and I really wish it was more front and center as opposed to being just a standard subplot. Uh, the performances, everyone does a good job with what they're given. Christian Slater could have been a little bit better, but I don't think he was given anything good as the villain here. All the kids do a fantastic job. I wasn't annoyed by any of them. I really felt that this was some better acting in a film like this. Then we have the visuals, and they're good. I really like the feel of Chupa, the baby Chupacabra. I like how we can feel the different layers in that character design, and he's adorable, and you can just feel his fur just by looking at it. It's some really good CGI for a straight-to-streaming movie. The bigger Chupacabras that we see, both in the beginning of the film and later in the film, they're alright. They could have probably been a little bit better designed, but they're not really in focus, so I really didn't see too much flaws in the CGI here. The music, that's pretty good. I really enjoy. I'm a sucker for some good mariachi music and some good Latin music, and this film has a decent amount of that scattered throughout the film. And I really enjoyed how we get both classic Latin music mixed with more popular Latin music nowadays. I really enjoyed that. To be honest, I didn't think this film was all that bad. Yeah, it's pretty standard and doesn't try to expand its base, and the characters aren't particularly well written, and I really wish that the subplot with the grandfather slowly losing his brain was more front and center, but I'll take what I can get, and I honestly enjoyed this film. So I'm going to give Chupa a 6 out of 10. Anyway, that's what I thought about the film. What'd you think about it? Let me know in the comments below. And if you like this video, like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you next time.